For time beyond memory, people have experienced at first hand physical, visual, and auditory events which could not be explained, and so it was feared. Today, we call this the paranormal. Our podcast will delve into this world of the unknown. So sit back and join Tina, Jake, Chris, Bridget, and Bill and journey into the darkness with us. Welcome to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 6, part 2 of Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast, and we're going to pick up where we left off in the last podcast, and that was when demons get in. So we're going to follow on from that. And do you remember where we were, Chris?
I do, and actually I'm completely terrified after listening back to that episode. Like, why did you let me talk so long on that?
Because it's very hard to stop you.
We did try.
No, how you doing, guys? Yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off, and if I remember correctly, the last item we were discussing was possession of that obviously particular topic, and if you were of the opinion if it could happen or not. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, jump in here. I think you, Tina, said you weren't really sure. Maybe not. Maybe you were the same, Billy.
Yeah.
And you're saying, Jake. And I just came out and just ruined the whole episode by saying no.
And that's where we finish again.
That's where we
so
finish.
Thank you for...
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. No, but no, just to capitalize, and I said it in the last one, my whole opinion could change walking out that door. But I do believe people believe that they're possessed by an entity or a demon, whatever it is. A question for you is exorcism and the whole process of doing it. Why do you think the demon fights so hard to stay within the individual?
It's the one thing that they want.
Yeah.
They want that
Very good.
taste of life.
I'm doing my very good pointing finger again.
They want that taste of life. They want to possess. They want to own.
Yeah.
They want to control.
Yeah.
And they want to harm.
Yeah. And a thing I read up before as well is that it's the punishment that they'll receive if they're unsuccessful and they actually do get banished, for want of a better word, if they get banished. It's the punishment that they will receive by Satan or whatever other princes of hell, so to speak, that they'll receive when they go back, that they get absolutely tormented and tortured, and that's why they want to stay so badly as well.
Can I ask you a question, Chris?
Okay.
Right. If you don't believe, why are you fascinated with all this? Why have you got the interest?
That's an extremely good question.
Well, I know.
No, you're right. Like, I love...
Have I got you?
No. Like, it's in my head. I know how I did, but I'm trying to get it into words. Like, I love researching, like, dark stuff. I don't practice any of it. I've never tried any of it. But it's just for want of a better, like, lore is going to sound wrong, but for want of a better word, it's the lure of it all. Like, all these demons, what they can apparently do to humans and all this kind of stuff, where it all originated, and then exorcism, like how the power of good can conquer evil, and sometimes it doesn't, because there has been exorcisms out there that have failed as well, and unfortunately the individual that's been involved with said exorcism has passed away. But it's just the whole, I suppose, I can't put it into words. It's just a general interest.
The whole effed up shit.
Yeah.
That's what you're into.
It's just a huge interest. But I'm not. A thing I want to get across with this as well is that I'm not here to disrespect anyone's beliefs. I'm not here to change anyone's beliefs, and I'm not here to say, like, I'm not going to say it either. I'm not trying to convince people that it does or does not exist. I'm just saying it from my behalf.
The whole thing with the team.
Absolutely.
We never, like, it's whatever people believe in.
Oh, of course.
Believe in every one of us on the team. We've different beliefs, or you know what I mean. That's what makes it interesting.
We're not here to preach.
Oh no, absolutely not. But I just find it fascinating. Now, don't get me wrong. There is people. We've met people that will not talk about this kind of stuff for obvious reasons. It's the more kind of darker are the more kind of evil or stuff. People just obviously don't. I know it's not an episode on Laugh to Solve, but remember people walking into that place and they would just stop. No, I'm not going in there.
They won't go over the front door.
Yeah, it's nearly like when you talk about like demons and exorcisms and possession and all that kind of stuff. People go, no, I'm not going to talk like that. They just kind of shut off.
It's really funny because I'm thinking here, what's Ireland's famous demon? Like the banshee. It's not a demon, but that is in Ireland. That's how scared people are of
Banshee
the
is
banshee,
huge, absolutely
which
huge.
is it's gas, isn't it?
And like I can guarantee you, every time you go to, they have their own version of the story of that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But here's the question: so, what was the first kind of exposure to that kind of like possession? Would you've all said movies?
Yeah.
Or programs or documentaries or word of mouth?
The Omen.
Movies.
The Omen, all
The
right.
original when it first came out, yeah.
You've always said that,
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah.
The Omen,
Right.
yeah.
Like the
actually.
Devil's Son and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which movie, because I do have an answer in my head, and I'm very non-biased. Which movie do you think really catapulted it into the forefront?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Everyone always says The Exorcist, yeah. And for a very valid reason. Phenomenal movie, obviously. But it was based, like the real story, if I remember correctly, it was a boy, not a girl.
It was
Yeah.
a young lad.
And the reason I'm asking this is because apparently during the filming of that movie and some other movie, The Omen as well, mad things happened. Like the set burnt down and
that happened in The Conjuring as well.
The Conjuring, that's
there
another
was
one.
Stuff happened.
So where I'm going with this is, like I seen, I think it could have been an Exorcist documentary. I think it was a priest said, if you try show the devil or show that he'll try stop you in some way. Do you know what I mean? If you try to show that he's there, because remember the famous saying, his biggest trick is to prove that or convince people he doesn't exist. But with The Exorcist and the Omen movies and all this kind of stuff happens. So do you think, and I want an honest answer, do you think, was it just all coincidence with all these like the set burning down, machines break, and I think Linda Blair hurt her back during that because the machine that was making her jump up and down the bed stopped, or something snapped or whatever it was, and she hurt her back permanently. And again, I think there was like deaths and all associated with it. But do you think that was just mad coincidence, or do you think there was demons in the background saying
coincidence myself?
Yeah,
I just think coincidence. Yeah, well, that's my personal opinion. Like, I'm sure people on set and because other people obviously have other beliefs about it, but personally I just think it's coincidence.
Yeah.
It's a deadly coincidence. It's actually brilliant, isn't it? I mean, I have to just throw it in there, you know, let's say back in the day, the film Lassie. None of those coincidences happened on that movie, did they?
You don't know. You do not know.
How do you, it mightn't have been publicised.
Okay, you got me. Okay.
How did we go from talking about The Exorcist to Lassie?
But you know what's really interesting is all the coincidences on that movie. But it didn't happen on Lassie. Think about it. So is it coincidence or is it something to do
with
the whole...
that Bed Knobs and Broomsticks was a complete and utter Satan fest.
Should have sang the music.
Oh God!
If you play that in reverse,
how many deaths were in that one? Actually, now you've got.
I think I was watching the movie.
But here's the question for you. So we kind of laid the foundation with the last episode about like the infestation, the oppression, all that kind of stuff, possession.
Yeah, you said there was 5. I said 3, but there's.
We had thought 3, 4,
there's
5.
different consensus on it. Yeah, I think there's.
I had always thought 3. But then I seen the general. Remember, you actually hit the nail on the head when you said it's kind of subdivided.
Yeah.
And the most common ones I seen was 4. But I think Jake, you said like you'd seen 5 and stuff like that. We talked about them, but do you think a demon could do that? Like if there's multiple people working on something,
if
or the devil,
it's true that can happen. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's like did God do those miracles with the fish and stuff like that? So it's kind of
if God was real, He'd done the miracle. If
you know
demons
what I mean?
were real, they could do
if
that.
Poltergeists are real, they can move objects. If they're not real,
It depends on what you believe in.
I think
it's a kind of like a double-edged sword of a question. I think.
No, that's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
I think it's probably like there's probably like so many incidences on like comedy movies where people get hurt, but like people aren't gonna be shocked
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but if it's like it's a movie about demons, people are gonna be like, oh, look, a demon done this, and
That's actually a very good point. It's good.
I think it's that, to be honest.
It's good marketing as well.
Yeah,
brilliant
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Don't watch this film alone.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something,
Yeah.
Chris? Just because I know we all know the backstory here, but people listening may not know the backstory. Did we say on the last episode the backstory of The Exorcist about the young guy? It wasn't really a girl; it was a guy. The true story. Did we
I'm not
mention that?
sure. I don't think
No,
so.
We didn't go over
just
that.
mention it because
They never. Yeah,
it's
so
very
they
interesting.
never officially said his name, and I think,
No.
if I remember correctly, it was the 1930s or 1940s in St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly. I really hope I'm getting all this right because I have a lot of stuff in my head. It's like verbal diarrhea at times when I
Yeah,
start getting going.
And
illegal,
that is very
yes.
true, Chris.
That is very
Verbal
true.
diarrhea. Oh, that's 6.2 episodes now that we've chastised you. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, I think I'd have to start talking to HR. But anyway, yeah, it was a boy, a young boy, and I think it was St. Louis. And yeah, like I think there was 2 priests, and they said that all this happened. It was documented. All this. I think the exorcism. Well, I'm right in saying it didn't work the first time, and one of the priests brought the boy with him to his own house or something like that. And then all this mad stuff started happening in the house as well.
What was the film then, or not the film? What was the original story of the guy whose parents died and he was raised by the auntie, and the auntie was the one who introduced him to the Ouija board?
I wonder it was that could have been that.
Yeah,
I wonder was it that?
I think that was the original story.
But that's probably how it all started. You see, he
And
used
then
the
you've
Ouija
got
board.
the later on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, don't quote me. I'm literally spitting off the top of my head here. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think the auntie had introduced him or gave it to him as a present or something like that. And he used it, and then all this stuff started happening around the house. But remember, while we're on the topic of Ouija boards as well, we're talking about if there's something there and you're kind of giving it ownership or power over you. That was the difference. People were believing with the Ouija board different to calling out. Like, is there something in the house rather than if you're here, can you move the planchette? You know,
Exactly.
do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, possession and stuff like that there's a lot of people out there that really do believe in it. And the purpose of these episodes is not to try to change their minds,
No.
just to be aware of that. What's another film that jumps to mind? As regards, Billy, you said 2, The Omen, The Exorcist. What was another really famous one?
See,
Little. You go first, Jake.
I didn't watch The Exorcist, to be honest, until like last year.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'd never seen it up until like last year.
Third of his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
So,
What do you think of it?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeez, brilliant. Just before we went to see the new one, I watched it.
Oh yeah.
So, but other than that, for me, it was like Insidious, the movies.
Oh,
It's,
yeah,
Would you
yeah.
call that possession? Like, well, yeah. it
Well,
is,
you
yeah.
would because the well, he was doing astral projection,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
and then
And
the dad got possessed.
the demon and always trying to get into all that kind of stuff. But
For me, it was them movies.
yeah,
And then the little one sitting in front of the telly, the blondie and the poltergeist.
they're here.
But then
That
that has a
was
curse to
just-
it as well. That
Yes.
Yeah,
She
because
passed away.
The skulls,
apparently
the
they used
bones.
real
Real
bodies,
bodies, and
and they only told the actors after they shot the film that they were real.
that was terrifying.
Imagine actually being told that.
That was a seriously good film.
Yeah, oh no,
Back in
really
the
good film.
day.
Really good film.
You have to remember our age group, our era is different than Jake's.
Yeah,
So Jake it'd be Insidious and
yeah.
like to
The
me it
Conjuring,
was-
all
yeah,
that kind of
I'm
stuff.
black
So-
and white movies.
yeah.
At least
Billy's gone
Silent
back.
movies.
At least the silent movies with your man playing the piano. Ding, 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 ding.
And then I would be The Exorcist and the Poltergeist, and then
Yeah.
Chris, you're
I'm like
he's going to say something. The new Exorcist.
Chris, I would have been
2023.
Children of the Corn and all those type of movies. Yeah.
do you think
The originals.
Do you know, it's the way I didn't say what my generation was. Do you think the movies? No, this is probably an obvious answer. Do you think movies elaborate or kind of add too much in, if that makes sense?
Absolutely, sure. They have, but if you read anything about an exorcism or about somebody who's
Yeah.
possessed, I won't say it's not boring for the person, but like it wouldn't make. They need special effects and all to draw people in. They need this jump scares to draw
Yeah,
people in.
Here's an interesting thing I read before in a book. I don't know if it was the full scripture is the wrong word. My apologies. The full I was going to say ritual of exorcism. Right, their full exorcism right. And one of the things that the exorcist is apparently meant to look out for is if the individual takes the body of Christ, be very aware that the devil will allow the individual to take it and consume it to give the opinion that he's left, that he's gone.
Yeah, that's actually in the rite of exorcism, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. But it's one of those things where, like, in my opinion, some people might think, oh, exorcism is just a general quick job done. Like, exorcism can last 2 minutes, but can last up to 3 years.
And,
Or more, I should say,
yeah.
not
a
just
lot
3
of
years.
a lot of movies are getting back to kind of staying on that subject as well. When they throw holy water on them, they go on fire and they burn.
Sizzled.
But
Yeah.
I don't think that happens. I don't think it's the same as the
Yeah.
bread.
Yeah,
It's acceptance.
It's the acceptance.
Yeah.
And
The foolery.
see, getting back to that as well, exactly. It's the whole kind of trickery, and remember saying about the things banging around and the windows smashing and all. It's to throw the exorcist and whoever else is in that room.
Satan is the
off.
greatest jester
Yeah.
there ever was, like, you know.
But you know, there's a couple of books I've read, and I think we barely touched on last week, but one I would recommend was The Dark Sacrament. That's one that's literally just on Ireland, and possession cases and exorcisms in Ireland. Obviously the names are changed to obviously protect the identity, but very
It's like
interesting.
the A-Team, Chris.
The what? But a very interesting story that was in it, and again, this is very bullet pointed, because I don't want to give too much away. People read it if they want to read it. But a priest had, I think, 3 experiences in his life when he said he met the devil. One was when he was being trained to be a priest. He went into, before he was ordained, he went into the church. I really hope I'm getting this right, but anyway, it's bullet pointed. He went into the church to pray the night before, and he was kneeling down praying, and he heard the door open behind him, and he heard the footsteps walking up, and whoever it was, fully empty church, fully empty, but completely empty church, and footsteps come up the aisle, and whoever it was, he noticed, stepped in behind him and sat down on the pew behind him, which first of all he felt, geez, that's a bit weird now, you know what I mean, who fully empty church. So he didn't bother with it and kept praying, and next minute this voice said to him, you know he isn't real, don't you? And he was like, what the hell? When he turned around, there was no one there. Do you know what I mean?
That proves that he, like, to the priest, then that'll prove that he is real.
So he was trying,
Invitation.
if that was the devil, he was trying to turn him away before he even became a full priest. Maybe that's the wrong word to use, a full priest. Another time was when he went, something to do with, he went to live with a parish priest for a while, and something had happened, but he was convinced that that parish priest was possessed.
Craggy Island. Sorry.
Yeah, he was mad into whiskey.
I had a cup of tea. Come
Carry
on.
on.
But the most interesting one I want to get to is one where a priest went to Lourdes on a pilgrimage with a couple of parishioners. Long story short, and we're up at wherever. I've never obviously been to Lourdes. I don't know what it's like. I'm assuming it's a trip up to the shrine, whatever it is. My apologies if it's not. Any of you been to Lourdes?
No,
Correct me if I'm
sorry.
wrong.
Not us.
But anyway, they were up praying, and they decided to take a break. So they went away for a little break, but the priest stayed there praying. And as the people were coming back, they were looking, just looking at him. And what they perceived is that he was grabbed and forced to the ground and held down. But I couldn't see anyone doing it. It was just something held him to the ground. And when he got over there, when they were coming back, there was another individual that worked there or must have volunteered, whatever it was, volunteered there, came over to him and he goes, I'm after seeing what's happening to you. He goes, yeah, unbelievable. He goes, would you believe, I can't remember the exact numbers, but he said, would you believe, it was something along the lines, there's been 18 miraculous visions or miraculous events here in Lourdes. But there's also been 17 unholy events, and now that's the 18.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now,
I think,
the numbers could be completely wrong.
and
I'm
I
only
think
going
I've
on
heard
memory
of
here.
that as well, where shadows have been seen on the walls and stuff, but demonic shadows
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. It's when you think about it, it's just interesting.
Medjugorje is another really
Yeah.
holy place that people
Yeah.
would go to get healed. And
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
somebody who used to go to Medjugorje every year with some sort of religious thing.
Yeah,
And they would be staying in the town miles outside the town itself of Medjugorje. And they said that they heard screams when there was exorcisms
Oh,
done
really? Yeah,
in churches.
yeah.
And that wasn't the only person that I heard
Yeah.
that said that.
Well, when you think about it, like the church have a dedicated
School.
school
School.
for exorcism, so
Yeah.
they certainly believe in evil.
Yeah.
And you can't. They say that you can't believe in good if you can't. Like evil coexists with good. You can't.
Like the thing is that people say, do you believe in God? Yeah. Do you believe in the devil? No.
You
Well, if you believe in
can't.
one, the other has, because that's the whole,
Yin
that's
yang. It's like
that's my opinion on it.
There's dark, there's light.
Yeah. I'm trying to lead into this. You've probably seen on YouTube as well a couple of times the videos of real possession caught on camera.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yeah.
It's very hard, unless you're, in my opinion, very hard to distinguish if it's real or not unless you're there in person. And apparently, if you're there in person, you will know if this is real or not. Like you'll be able to tell if this person's possessed or not, judging by what's going on.
The internet has been fantastic for the paranormal, but it's also been an absolute curse for the paranormal because there's so much stuff out there. There's probably 99% of stuff out there that isn't satanic or whatever it is.
All fake.
Fake, You have to call it out what it is.
Yeah. Do you know the demon that's linked to the Ouija board?
Not personally, no.
I have his phone number.
666.
No, do you know this? 0402. But yeah, there is a demon. Remember we talked last week that there's a demon for every deadly. I can't even talk. Every deadly sin has a demon, if they're linked or attached to it. But the Ouija board, would you believe, has a demon that's meant to be more so linked with the board itself as well? Anyone?
I have a question about that. Right, it's
Well,
kind
I
of,
want to finish
it's
your
kind
point.
of
Name
like,
first.
that's
Here we go.
no question. Just a question before you get to your point. Okay.
Okay.
The question is, the Ouija board was a parlor game.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that it was meant to be invented for a conduit of evil? Like,
No,
would
it
Oh no,
wasn't.
I don't
No,
know.
it
No,
wasn't.
it's a child's game. Like,
yeah, child's game.
That's a
So
children's game.
why would a demon be associated with it?
Now, I'm just here's my
very
practical.
good.
Here's my practical answer.
That's why I was asking.
This is not my belief now. Just to let you know, if in hindsight, if that's seen as, oh my god, humans are after inventing something that's so easy to communicate with them, I'm fucking attaching to. Do you get what I mean? I'm attaching to this. This is my way into them. This is my route in. Do you know what I mean? I'm only
Surmising.
Money surmising.
There could be the other side as well, where it was meant to happen.
yeah.
Because, like, they say that in Catholic Church and churches and stuff like that, this was meant to happen because this good thing came out of it. Maybe
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
Satan's way of inventing this,
Yeah.
or putting it into the human psyche, and somebody
Yeah.
come up with the idea.
But you see, things might have just, it looks like the Annabelle doll. Now, I'm getting back to the Ouija board in 2 seconds, but it's like the Annabelle doll. Why did the demon attach to that? Like, the doll itself isn't meant to be possessed. It's a conduit, and it's attached to that doll. You know.
But before the Ouija board, there's an Irish Ouija board. I don't know the name of it.
I can never pronounce Vigil.
Yeah.
Vigil.
But that's like a lot older than the Ouija board. So,
Oh, yeah.
do you know what I mean? So there are kind of older versions of the
Yeah.
parlor game, the Ouija board.
But so I'm going to talk a little bit on Annabelle Man as well. But just while we're on the subject of the Ouija board, the demon, his name is meant to be Zozo, and if he or she is there, because the planchette will start going to Z-O-Z-O-Z-O-Z-O. It doesn't have to. And like, I read a book called The Zozo Phenomenon, and a very interesting read. It's either Darren Evans or Derek. I think it's Darren Evans, because he had a bad experience with Ouija. So he's a zoologist.
A
But anyway.
zoologist? Is that like a zoologist?
That's why. No, I really hope I'm not getting all this wrong, because I tell you, the ratings are going to go way down. Jake, quick search on that there. No, I think he's a self-proclaimed like zoologist. But anyway, it can be Z-O-Z-O. Yeah.
Is Zozo, was that not all made up for a film? That is a
No.
real demon.
Zozo's a real demon.
Oh, right, carry on.
The Led Zeppelin, I think, had something, a
That's
sign or a sigil or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
Jeez, this could be part 3. But anyway, so yeah, so Z-O, but can also be M-A-M-A-M, so Mama. So it tries to trick you and saying this, that, and the other. But and then the planchette will start making the infinity sign on this board as well, so it's always here or whatever it is. But again, the traits of this demon is that it starts getting really aggressive really quickly, really dark really quickly, and you start seeing shadows. If you're doing it in a room, like shadows will start moving around the room and all this kind of stuff, and eventually just get really aggressive, really violent very quickly. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube as well of people apparently, and again, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'm not here to say either or, but did you ever see the Ouija board sessions on YouTube where they get possessed? Some of them are crazy. As in, some of them, if it's that quick, it's phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? The Annabelle doll, I forget why. Do we actually know why that doll became? Like, we know the whole story of afterwards, but remember when that doll was given as a gift and all that kind of stuff, but there was no kind of... Is there any
No,
kind
there
of...
was none before
They
that.
say
I don't
that
think anyway.
evil can attach to objects.
But that's what I'm saying, yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think I had a pass to it. Though.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think so.
And that's why I'm linking back into Billy's question about why did the demon pick that item? It could be just seen as that's my easy way in. Do you know what I mean? That's my easy route into turn these people's lives for the foreseeable. Like, you've got how many dolls out there are meant to be possessed? How many paintings are meant to be possessed? How many mirrors? Have you heard about, like, oh my God, don't look into them. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different items.
And you were saying about how quick the possession is. Can
Yeah.
I name one more film? It's only a new film out. Well, it's
Yeah.
probably out a year or two. Talk to Me.
Oh, talk to me where they hold on to the hand. Yeah.
Actually,
I actually
Very-
haven't
Actually,
seen
there's
have
an
you seen it,
example.
Billy?
I haven't
Sorry.
seen that movie.
I
Is it, Jake?
liked
Sorry, I
it.
know, I'm joking. It's just
Well,
go
so
down.
for anyone that likes the movie,
No, no.
Did you like it, Jake?
No, I
Serious?
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie.
Some of it was
it's
a
a good
bit-
movie,
bit
but I thought it was
wild.
very. I was expecting more from it, but not a bad film. Not a bad film by any means. But I think it was very overhyped. But a very
You
good
see,
idea.
I watched it. I had never even heard of it. So
Yeah.
to me, I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, I was satisfied.
Yeah. But like, and here while you're saying that, would talk to me. They had to willingly take
That's
the
it. It was
hand.
all willing,
It's
and
all
you had
willing.
to give
It's all-
permission.
You're giving your
and
will. Giving
have
the
a look at
permission.
it, Billy.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's a
I've
bit-
seen,
it's a bit
I've
of a
seen
weird
clips of it
film.
and stuff, and I kind of look and go,
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
yeah.
It is.
But Jake, because you have to just check that out there while we were talking about Darren Evans. Is that the individual? Just when obviously while we're still talking.
I was
But
going to
yeah,
ask, what did Annabelle have a certain demon associated with
not
her?
that I know. No, again, I'm literally just going off complete memory tonight. I've literally no notes in front of me, as you can see.
But
It's just a
like,
general.
it's with Annabelle and stuff like that. There are artifacts from the beginning of time, like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
That artifact that they found at the beginning of the movie had the devil Satan attached to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there are pendants from the beginning of
Oh,
time.
that was the
There's-
Pazuzu,
Yeah.
the little amulet or
Yeah.
the statuette
Yeah.
kind of thing.
That's
yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you know actually things as well? The Exorcist. Come back to the Exorcist. Jeez, we're jumping all over the place.
Darren Evans, yeah.
Darren Evans is it? And does it say anything about a zoologist?
Zoologist. That's a new one.
Doesn't actually.
Jake's doing what do we call it? A fact check.
Yes.
But in The Exorcist, I seen recently enough, like Pazuzu was meant to come in on the winds and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at The Exorcist again when you get a chance, there's a lot of drafts
Yeah, I've
that happen in that film.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're saying, oh, the demon's present now. It's worked its way into the house. And the other breath and all. It was crazy the amount of work that
Devil's
went into
breath.
that film.
Yeah.
People don't realise.
Oh, no.
Subtle stuff that they put in as well. That's why
Oh,
The
yeah.
Exorcist was so good, because
Yeah,
it wasn't all about effects and stuff. Well, there was effects in it, but
yeah, yeah.
it was more
All
about
these little
it was
things.
psychological.
Here, so, if I hadn't, but I've just thought of it while we're talking there. In The Exorcist, I'm not trying to downgrade a fucking phenomenal film. I love that movie. But here's the question, right? Do you know when her head spins around?
How?
No.
Like,
and the exorcism is complete. How is she not dead?
yeah.
Billy's got, oh, Billy, ooh.
Oh, I'm just breaking now. My mind is broke.
For
I'm
no
done.
reason.
Yeah.
Because it was a movie.
Oh my God.
Jake has actually answered the question for me.
So, guys, thanks for tuning
Thanks,
in.
Jake.
We hope you tune in for episode 7. Jake,
prosthetic
will you
head.
please fuck off?
It's a prosthetic head.
But here's the no genuine. So that's one example. Say for talk's sake, if there was a case of possession and this individual, be it male or female, went completely mad, right, and killed someone. Now we've heard of it.
The Conjuring.
But next minute, whatever happened, they snapped the bone or snapped the neck or the head. You know, we've seen them in films where their necks are
They contort all over the
exactly.
place.
How come they're not in bits? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But how come there's not like lasting physical damage.
Yeah, at the end of the film to
Yeah.
say they were
Do you
in
get what I'm
rehab
saying?
for 4 years.
But that's
Never walked
Fixing
right
their
ever
back.
again.
Yeah,
I think again that's
It's true.
if
You know
that
what I mean?
if they were just walking normally in the movie, it wouldn't scare people.
Yeah.
They want to scare people. Like films do want to scare people. That's why they're in the business.
Oh no,
They want to
absolutely,
scare
without
us,
a doubt.
you know.
And like you've heard as well, like in some exorcisms, like people regurgitate impossible things.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to jeez, I should have actually forget the man's. It's on YouTube. If you look up exorcist interview on YouTube, you'll see it. But he was talking about like this person was regurgitating like all mad shit. You know, like I mean, like I think it was nails and all this kind of stuff. Like, but again, how is that not put the throat out of the person and internal bleeding and maybe just go through a
Again,
bunch
I
of
just
things.
think it's clickbait for the movie.
Yeah.
It's,
No, but this wasn't a film.
yeah.
This was
Meant
an
to
actual
be.
schism he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Personally, I
That's what
don't
I'm saying to you. How far can you go?
In fairness, like
Go.
movie wise, like just like the most recent Exorcist, just
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah, yeah.
like the two girls they broke up at the end of it, like. So when they're not possessed, then
Bluntly.
they're properly broke up.
We're after ruining the next 10 years of Hollywood.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not. Yeah, they were broke up at the end of it.
Just
Like
keep-
they didn't just go back to normal.
Oh no,
like,
no,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. And like, just I'm going to take your point, but I just want to say this: keep an eye on the messages, guys,
ever
because
cry-
to be an agent from Hollywood
Do you
saying.
ever try and pick up a heavy box and your back goes on you? Like, it's not, you don't heal that quickly. Like.
But no, Jake's point, so they are broke up, and what you were saying. But I'm talking about actual life-changing injuries. Like, I'm not saying the exorcist when her head spins around that happens, but if it happened and the exorcism was successful,
I
do
think
you know what I mean?
I think in the movies it's about the getting rid of the exorcist, the devil, I should say.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't think it's about how the person feels at the end of it.
yeah.
That's probably why. Yeah, no, that's
I mean,
probably why. Like,
not to be so blunt
the
about it.
recovery
Yeah,
afterwards.
it's not to be so blunt.
But this is actually a really interesting conversation. To be
But
fair,
what you're saying is that there are actually cases of exorcisms where they do regurgitate, let's say,
Well, that's what this lad
nails and
said. It was
blades
an
and-
American exorcist, and he said that he's.
what's his name? Just use the
How
same
are they
man.
alive?
It's on YouTube.
And where did they store all these nails in their stomach? Like,
Well, they're possessed.
Would
so
they have
it's not
swallowed, if they were
normal, like,
possessed,
They
would they
make
have
the
swallowed
nails.
these nails?
It's manifested. Like the nails are
they're
manifested.
possessed,
Right.
like, you know.
What are we saying,
I
Billy?
was
Sorry?
going to say, would they, if they were possessed, would they have swallowed the nails and then regurgitated
But that's another possibility. But that is another, and like the whole thing of if they've done that, what damage have you done? And I'm talking about medically. What
Back
damage have you
here,
done?
here.
Dan Rehill,
Have you got a picture of him there?
second one.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
it. That's
Dan
the one. Yeah.
Rehill.
spell that surname, Jake, just so people would be able to
Yeah.
have a look
Or
at it.
EEHIL. Just look up interview with Exorcist and it's the
Definitely
one with
check
Dan
that out.
Rehill.
That's a great video.
Because in the last episode,
He also said that he witnessed someone,
Levitate.
levitating and climbing up a wall like a spider, like
yeah.
backwards, like.
No, it's a very good. If you're interested, if you like this episode, guys, I'd highly recommend check out that. And you were saying, Tina?
in the last episode, people were asking
The books. Yeah.
names of the books and
Some of the
stuff.
book-
So that's what I was saying.
Some of the
name
books I
name
won't give
them.
them all out because I've mad you, and it's not disrespectful to the authors of the books. But
Ladybird books.
But I don't want people going down the rabbit hole either. So I definitely recommend check out the Dark Sacrament. That's
Dark
one.
Sacrament and then
The Malachi Martin, Hostage to the Devil.
Hostage to the Devil.
Check
yeah.
out that one. And any of if you like the Warren stories, check out all of them, like the Demonologist. Remember
Just
the
look up Edinburgh and Warren's
yeah,
books.
and
And do you remember Zach Baggins bought that house,
the Demon House.
the Demon House,
Yeah.
right? So I remember when I watched the documentary of that, and I know there was over the top and there was bits and pieces. But what I remember looking at the interviews of people, the witnesses
Yeah.
of the kids of the Demon House. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
Like the kids were witnessed.
yeah. Well, the cops.
up
It was
the
cops.
cop.
The cops were there when one of the
One of the kids
one of the
went up the
children
wall or
walked
something.
backwards up the wall and obviously like done a nearly a front flip.
So how is
And
all
landed
that
up-
possible?
that's documented apparently.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying now. I know they say there's this and it's over the top and things were dramatized and okay, that's fair enough. There's things dramatized, but then you get your statements of
Yeah.
cops who aren't involved and they're not going to benefit, and it's not
No
as if
one's
they're
Zach
going
Baggins, he probably paid the cops to say that or something.
stop.
PRI would like to distance
Yeah.
themselves from what Jake Barco
Yeah.
just said. We here at PRI do not have
like Zach Black. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
we here at PRI would like to welcome unity and community in the paranormal world. Back to the episode. So yeah, in that episode,
We'll get back to the cops.
Jake is going
Cops are not cops anymore. They're rich.
Jake is going to throw the microphone at me. But no. But again, like, is it possible? Absolutely, of course, it's possible. But like again, you have the Enfield haunt. Like the cops witnessed something there as well.
The woman of the Enfield. You see, I love all that. The mother one night went out into the street.
Yeah.
And she went over to the neighbour, and
Yeah,
the
they came
neighbour
in.
witnessed something, and they had rang the police, and the police witnessed, and then they say that that's all a hoax as well. But I love looking at the interviews of the people, like doctors, nurses, police.
Are you going to tell somebody who saw an apparition that they didn't see it? It's kind of on the same
Probably
lines.
can't, yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's one thing I'll never do, just because like we've all had a couple of episodes now where we gave our own opinions on stuff, but we're not
Exactly.
forcing them on
That's
people.
all they are.
That's,
is
and
our
I never
opinions.
will. As I said, I'm very open. I'm 3 billion
we've
%
heard,
open.
Chris.
I'm 3 billion % open to having a conversation with someone and saying, listen, something's going on here. No problem. Let me go in. Let me
And
have a
having
look
the
around.
interest to
Exactly.
look
I'm
into
not going to say,
it.
oh, you're fucking, that's not happening. You know what I mean?
I always say if just because we can't see something
absolutely.
doesn't mean it's not there.
Absolutely.
It just means that we can't see it.
So here's a question, getting back to the topic after Jake nearly ruined our careers.
Ruined it.
Do you think, just this is kind of a Chris episode again, isn't it?
No, it's just turned into a Jake episode after what he said.
I just can't get over that.
We're in shock here. Don't mind him, Jack. Do you think, and honest opinions here as well, do you think demons are just waiting in the background? Like lurking in the shadows, waiting, like where we're sitting right here, right now? Do you think if we willingly, and I'm using that word very strongly, willingly wanted one of them to make connection or make themselves known with us, you'd get it?
Here.
Well,
Actually, we're in Tina's house, so if we were in a different building and
church, for instance.
but no, genuinely, do you think they're just lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce?
Can I just say first what I think, and then Billy, you go ahead, right?
Yeah.
You see, I think demons are there and they're waiting in the shadows for people mentally
Yeah.
who are weak enough that will accept it. And I'm not saying accepting a real demon, because I don't know if demons are true or not, but they're accepting the idea.
Yeah.
So that's a really hard question, because people will accept the idea of being possessed or a demon, but does that make them real? It just makes them real in their head. So I don't know.
I suppose it makes the apparent effect of what people perceive them to be real, nearly, doesn't it?
Well, getting onto another kind of similar vein, Chris, the dark arts.
Yeah.
So they would certainly believe that
Oh, without a doubt.
demons are lurking in the background.
Yeah. Well, the
And
original.
they summon them
for
for
their own
reasons.
purposes.
They do harm.
Originally, the occult gets kind of dark and all this kind of stuff as well. But originally, the occult wasn't to be taught to be evil. It was actually heightening your senses and all that kind of stuff. And I read a book called The Occult.
No way.
Colin Wilson, check it out. And we may as well just call this plug session.
Well, just a quick one.
yeah.
I'll get back to
Well,
that.
intro, I won't finish my point again, Billy, no problem.
No. Believing in Jesus and gods and stuff, that's a cult as well. It's all a cult.
PRI would like to distance ourselves from Billy's opinions. We here at PRI believe in many things, and we believe in equality. Billy and Jake tonight.
So, Chris, it's
So
only me and you.
It's just, we were kicking them off the team. We were having a severe conversation after this.
Just me and you, Chris.
Me and Billy have
We
strong opinions, but sure, look,
We got our P45s, eh?
Chris just doesn't say his.
I give
Should
very-
hear
I
when
give-
the microphones aren't on.
I do give a very strong opinion. Well, so anyway,
Oh,
getting back
fair.
to before
Yeah,
Billy.
finish off your
Before
point
Billy.
there.
I think Tina agreed with me on that one. Didn't you,
Poor
Tina?
Billy nearly started.
Say- no, say yes into the mic.
Yes, Billy, I do.
But,
Thank you.
Right, Chris, finish
The
your point
occult was, as I said, wasn't originally meant to be evil. It was heighten your senses and all that kind of stuff. And in that book, there was a thing called Factor X, not the X Factor, Factor X. And, and they're saying over time, humans have lost it due to, it was called hypertension. So there's so many external influences on the brain, on the mind, on the body. That is, so to give you an example, they're saying, like, hundreds of years ago, cavemen and women could be walking along and they'd sense that something's wrong. and they'd cross over to the other side of the jungle or whatever it is, but next minute they just realised they've crossed over away from a tiger. You know, it's like a sixth sense kind of thing, that the sense danger.
Oh, you,
like a,
you,
like a
men- you
gut
mentioned
feel.
this.
It's like that
Yeah.
feeling you're walking alone at night and you feel like you're being watched, and then you look behind you and Chris is there.
Like, what is this turning into? Can we re-record this?
Now, all joking aside, but people do say, like, oh, they're walking down a road or something, they feel like they're being watched, and that's feeling of being watched harkens back to that as well, apparently.
But what we're saying there, summoning demons and all, you can do it for. It's like to gain something. But the thing is, in my opinion, if you can possibly summon a demon, it's not just going to come in and say, "Oh, there you go," but not want something in return. You know what I mean? It's going to take something back.
Story.
You know what I mean? And that's. But I do believe people practice those for evil intentions. Do I believe they work? I'm not. I'd have to see it working, but I do believe there is people out there that do it for evil purposes. You know what I mean? So do you, Jack, to finish the question, do you think there's demons lurking in the shadows just waiting for the opportunity to get in?
There could be. I've never
Yeah.
met one or anything, so.
This is the weirdest thing.
Who's on the fence?
He's on the fence. He's sitting beside them. But
Of
yeah.
course, yeah, there could be, yeah. Obviously, as we were saying, like somebody who has had a run-in with the demon, whether it be an exorcist or a victim, like they'll swear to you that it's real.
Yeah.
Like there's exorcists that devote their whole life to that
Oh,
topic,
without
you know, and they believe 1,000,000% that it's real. Like the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they believe it's real.
It's not just like there's multiple religions that have it. And I do want to ask one more question, and then I'm finished with my obvious questions, and then we'll just move on. So during the possession, when the so-called possessed goes like out of control and starts speaking in tongues and starts like whatever, where do you think the actual individual is? Like, are they witnessing it as a or body experience, do you think? Are they witnessing it as, oh my god, what the hell, I can't control myself here? Experience? Do you get what I mean?
To me, in my head, what I thought would happen is that person is just totally shut off, so they're not witnessing.
Black out, like.
It's just like being asleep or something like that.
But then that's just because I never had to think about it before. So thanks for that again, Chris. What would you think?
I think that they are witness to it somehow.
Yeah.
Because they're so traumatized when they come back, they know. Because they do, in a lot of movies, they do remember what's happening and stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, I found that interesting. What actually, I'd love to actually, because again,
like tunnel vision, I suppose. You're stuck back watching it, like watching TV.
I was literally about to say it's like you're watching a movie or something, or sitting back watching TV, except it's yourself on the screen.
Is that what you would think?
I'm not sure. I'd like to think that's completely shut off. If it is real, I'd like to think that's completely shut off, that the person doesn't experience, because
that's what I thought.
That's going to mess you up for life.
I'd like to believe.
Do you know what I mean? That'll mess you up for life anyway. So even if the exorcism is successful, there's still going to be that lasting effect, which maybe there is. But I'd like to think they're shut off.
So you're just letting everybody think. So after all of that, you're completely broke up. You're mentally not okay.
You've thrown up nails.
You're like you're just totally. Yeah, okay. So just don't mess with that
It's
shit.
not a good Monday.
Oh no, geez, don't mess with it.
It's not a good Monday. It's not a good start to your week.
Well, the thing I really hope I've got it all right tonight, because there's so much stuff in my head that I really hope.
Guys, we do make lighthearted of a lot of this as well, but like we do take this very, very seriously. We're kind of just joking amongst each other here. That's the way we are, but like it is a very serious subject.
No,
just a disclaimer for that one. We do realise that.
A very good point to make. But there is a lot of people that have had very serious and very bad experiences with all this.
And we're not joking about that.
And we're not trying to downgrade that.
No.
But Jake, I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you think someone think the same? The blackout.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting just to know, or what is.
You see, it's gas because I never thought of that before.
Yeah, where does the person go when that's?
Yeah, I never thought of that until you said it just now. I just presumed in my head they black out. So it's funny.
Yeah.
In some movies, it is portrayed that they're trying to like make like when they're possessed, they're trying to like make signs to the people.
Yeah.
Through the so like I don't know. I know, and I'm not going off movies, and that's what happens. But like obviously that's
Well, movies is what gives you your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen.
Well, you think about it, they're the kind of, like, if you weren't researching this, like what we do, movies is going to be your go-to.
Exactly.
You know, and there is some movies out there that are very well
A lot of
researched.
documentaries.
And a lot of documentaries. I still have to watch that Ed Lorraine one on Netflix.
There's a good one on Netflix.
Yeah, I still haven't got around to that yet.
It's good, yeah.
It's meant to be good.
Do you know what? It's really interesting.
Yeah, I must actually check
Yeah.
it
I
out.
actually haven't seen that myself. I might watch it tonight.
Yeah.
It's a really easy watch. Like you'll find that you'll just get into it.
Fantastic documentaries on that.
And the thing is as well, like, you've got a lot of highly respected exorcists out there, which for valid reasons, obviously.
And we have respect for
Yeah,
them.
100%.
Yeah.
I just want to get that across as well. And then you've a lot of highly respected investigators out there as well,
Absolutely.
who were experienced in all that kind of stuff as well. So,
Absolutely.
So it's just to make sure get that out there as well. But do you think, before I've thought of another question, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think items can get possessed, not just people?
Well,
We've talked about dolls and stuff, but do you genuinely think something that's inanimate, something that didn't have a free will to give away?
Well,
they
like
get
a Ouija
possessed?
board's inanimate until people touch it. Like if you
Yeah.
pick up a doll,
Yeah,
say a haunted doll, it's inanimate until somebody touches it. So maybe
Yeah.
that person has
Passes
type of
energy.
energy is
Yeah.
passing onto it, and it's able to absorb energy, like stone tape theory, kind of.
That's what I was thinking.
I think like an object such as a doll could just be how would I explain
a
it?
vessel.
Yeah, it could
it's like
just
the
be
conduit that
vessel,
we're saying.
a
Yeah,
vessel for a demon.
If you sit in a room,
yeah.
if you were told to sit in a very dark room with a supposed, somebody puts it into your head that there's a supposed
Yeah.
haunted doll in the corner, your mind is going to like go there straight away,
Yeah.
and for the next couple of weeks, probably a couple of months, you could be pretty fucked up over it. Excuse my language, but
and like,
you know.
and I know the answer that all three of you, including myself, is going to give this, but I just want to ask the question hypothetically. Would you ever mock an apparent possessed item, not person, because obviously we know the answer to that, but would you ever mock, so say like the Annabelle doll?
Antagonizing me.
Yeah, like remember the story about the Annabelle doll, about the gentleman that was it? Yeah, we got, and he started banging on the case saying, "Oh, you can," and then there was a road crash afterwards. And all that kind of, but was that linked? Was
Very
it not
well
linked?
known, yeah.
But I kind of know. Whatever, would you try and antagonize it?
No, personally,
Okay.
I wouldn't anyway.
Why?
In case.
You just
Yeah.
don't know, like, and like you might, like, we're all pretty psychologically strong, but you just
Yeah.
don't know, like, you just
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah.
and you like might find a weakness. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
That's a
know
good
the words
answer,
for it, but I don't think I would, because it would be mocking my beliefs then as well,
Yeah.
and which I wouldn't pass on to other people.
no, it's good.
Do you know
Good
what I
answer. Good answer. You, Tina?
No, it's simple. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And the very same as
Billy's
Billy's
saying, yeah.
reasons. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm a big believer in anything good, bad, or whatever. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's just not
No,
something I
it's
do.
understand absolutely.
What about you,
wouldn't
Jake?
walk into a field with a bull and start.
Yeah, with a red blanket saying, "Come at
I
me."
mean,
Unless I knew I could run faster. But
if I can run faster than you guys, I would do it.
Or have a very big fence in between. Yeah.
Jake, what do you think?
Jake.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think just knowing that so many people dedicate their whole lives into
Yeah.
protecting people from demons, you know, it's kind of
exactly.
it kind of gives you a bit of, even if you don't believe it, it'll give you that side to it, like in your mind.
No, I have to
What would you think?
100% agree with you. Like, I definitely wouldn't mock it.
No.
I'd respect it. I'd
Isn't it
respect.
cast all of our beliefs and we all
Yeah.
agree on the one thing there?
Yeah, I
That's
definitely
good.
wouldn't mock it. I'd respect it, because no matter what, it doesn't matter what you're like. There's a lot of people that believe that something might have went on here or might be still going on here. Who would I speak for? Who would I, or I'm assuming yourselves, would be to go in there and make a joke of it? Because first of all, you don't want to do that. Second of all, it's what you were saying, Billy. But you always have that little thing in the back of your mind. Oh, what if? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the what if thought.
Yeah, you do.
Like
My
I-
whole thing is
yeah.
what if?
Yeah, like I've been of my opinion up until now, but it's still what it, like I could, as I said, I could go out to the car there now and next minute something appears in the mirror, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I've changed my opinion.
Things like that have ruined a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, as I said
100%,
again, as whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, people have been impacted a lot by it, like, so who are we
Yeah.
to mock it? You know what I mean?
100%.
Because
And
if it happened to someone close to you or something, you know, like,
And if it messes with you
You would
psychologically,
believe,
it's
yeah.
going to mess with the people around you.
Well, I would say that, let's say 4 of us sitting here now, if I could say absolutely don't believe in demons and don't believe in paranormal, don't believe in whatever. But if Chris or Jake or if Billy, if one of them came to me and said something's after happening, I believe them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that's the thing.
Because I trust the trees. I trust you. So I know you wouldn't lie to me. So there's my whole belief changed in a split second. Because one of you is after saying something.
But that's the
It's
thing.
like, again, getting back, you had an experience before with Wayne down in Loftus Hall, and I don't want to go on about Loftus Hall, but the location. Like, I'm not going to turn around and say to you,
It didn't happen. Yeah.
That didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I think the 4 people I would trust, and anybody on PRI team, but the people I trust here tonight, I would believe if they said they heard something or saw something or
That's
whatever.
what I'm saying,
I believe
yeah.
them.
Don't forget that building itself, while we're on topic, sorry Jake, was meant to be exorcised as well. There was meant to be an exorcism carried out in that house. Sorry Jake, go on.
No, I was going to ask a question before we finish up about would you have any stories or anything about like demons and historic events or anything, or
Like, you mean battles and...
no, like just for example, I was watching a thing earlier about the Knights Templar and coming towards the end of their era.
Yeah.
They were accused of worshipping Baphomet and the devil, like, and that was back in the time, like they were the people who protected the Catholic.
I think they were ostracized though as well, because they done a lot of bad things as well. They weren't as innocent.
But they were seen and they were recognized by the Pope, and they were funded by the Pope.
I think they came up with banking as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they
did.
Banking,
But they were very high up in the Catholic religion, like, and for them to maybe have something to do with worshipping a demon. I was just because I watched it earlier. And
no, you're good, very good.
You might not know any, but just
I can't think of anything genuinely off the top of my head.
if you look, you'd find something like that.
There we go. Richard Ramirez, wasn't he?
He was meant to be a Satanist, wasn't he? Yeah.
Even in his court thing.
He had the pentagram. Yeah. That's literally just jumped to mind.
Mr. Crowley.
We could do a whole episode on all them.
Yeah.
That would be an episode
It was like
itself.
they were I won't say influence, but they had that interest, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, Richard Ramirez is the first one that really jumped into my
So
mind.
Sam, is that another one?
I'm not sure.
Or was that
That
different
was
beliefs?
a murder, wasn't it? Is that, am I right in that?
We can do a whole other
Yeah,
episode on things
that's
like
part
that.
3.
Part 3A, B.
Yeah, demons.
/D.
Demons have come up a lot in history, like
Yeah.
before movies.
Well, they're associated with. So a minute ago I said about they are associated with battles, like with good versus evil, I suppose you could call it. Whatever, but
We said
to look up. Yeah.
We said earlier that films can
without doubt.
How would you say?
Influence.
A lot of people's theories on demons and all.
For sure.
But,
Music as well.
and music, but there was a lot of things said about demons before.
Without doubt.
And music.
Without doubt.
But sure, look at going
So-
back 30 years ago, anybody that listened to heavy metal music was automatically a
A
Satanist.
Satanist, yeah.
I mean,
There
like,
was that whole case
ridiculous.
over in
Like,
America.
Was that not Dungeons and Dragons as well?
Yeah,
People
it
who
was
played Dungeons
absolutely
and
ridiculous.
Dragons were called
Do you know what I mean?
Satanists. Now I could just be referring to Stranger Things there, but was that real?
Was
There
that real?
was something.
Was
like
that
that.
real?
I think
That,
there was.
yeah.
She wasn't
Role-playing,
yoga.
those
Something
role-playing
about
games.
yoga as well.
Yoga, all of that.
Something
Do
about
you not
yoga as well.
remember the big thing that came out for people? The big warning about
Yeah.
yoga.
Yeah. I
and-
think there was something about
Oh my
yoga.
God, it was
So
so
any yoga
funny.
practitioners out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris is,
It's
doing
joking,
his,
by the way.
Chris is currently doing his downward dog.
Jesus.
We're coming up to an hour there, so
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's
yeah.
really, really good, guys.
But no, listen,
So,
really
Chris,
enjoyed that, to be honest.
we
Just
might
if-
do a part 3 in
We might
a
at some
month or
point.
so. Like,
If people want a part 3, we'll do it.
To kind of summarize it, Chris, what in 20 seconds,
Jeez, this is going to be tough.
what would you say are your thoughts on our last 2 episodes?
Well, first of all,
30 seconds maybe.
30 minutes. No,
25 seconds.
First of all, very enjoyable. Really enjoyed it. I will say this: it's a huge area, and you could literally research for days.
Days, years.
Days upon days upon days. Allow me to finish, Billy. But you could research forever, and you're still going to find something fresh, something new. And it's very hard. I think that came across this evening. It's very hard to try to remember everything because there's so much of it out there. But I will say this: I do have a respect for it. I will never taunt it. I will never say, "Oh, fuck you, demon," because you're still of the opinion of, geez, what if? I do believe when we die we go somewhere, and I hope it's heaven. There you are, little shocker there now. I do believe people believe they can be possessed, 100%, and I do believe there's good people out there that work to help those people. No matter what those beliefs are, I still believe there is good people out there to try help those people. But I do believe as well there is bad people out there that practice the bad arts, dark arts, whatever you want to call them, for bad purposes. My last little thought would be, no matter what the beliefs are, mine can change, and I will still respect it. I don't care.
I think you've summarised it for every one of us. I'm not being honest, I don't think the rest of us need to. I think that was
The only
perfectly
thing I'd have
eloquent.
to say about that is imagine Chris sitting up in heaven. And that's me done.
I think we'd have a right party up there.
I'd say we will, yeah. I'd say that. I just what I just said there, I think Chris said it very eloquently. It's there's good out there, there's evil out there. We would never taunt it. We would never.
Yeah.
It's whatever people believe and don't believe.
Yeah.
We won't push our thoughts onto anybody.
Who are we to say it's not there?
Great
You know what I mean?
episode, guys. Like really, really good. I think Chris put it bluntly as it. And, normally he goes on for an hour or two, but
And all I've got to say is it is what it is.
it is what it is.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've kind of scraped the surface of it over the last few episodes.
That's all
You know,
it
we've
is,
we've
yeah.
given a few books, a few
Like it's,
a few
Mosquito bite that we've done.
documentaries, all that.
Of
Again.
information.
Again, if some of the stuff, again, because we myself, all of us here are going off memory topics as well, so if some of it is a little bit, I won't say wrong, but a little bit bypassed. Apologies.
That's okay.
Look, everyone, like we'll be wrong on things, we'll be right on things.
Sure, it's hard to remember everything.
Remember the documentaries and books and everything. You can't remember everything.
So Tina,
But I think we could do another episode, as Jake said,
I think
around
so.
a month.
I
But
think so.
From us here tonight, so myself, Tina.
Bill,
Big.
And Chris, and whatever you do, guys, always stay spooky.
you have been listening to Paranormal Researchers Ireland podcast. Intro and outro music, Nothing to Be Scared Of by Kakuru. Main theme background music, Shattered Past by John Barzetti. Both intro, outro and main theme music sourced through the Epidemic Sound app. BRI podcast recorded and produced by Jake and edited and mixed by Bill using Adobe Audition. We hope you enjoyed our podcast, so why not join us for our next supernatural podcast coming very soon.